Hello, good afternoon. Are you able to hear me? Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, Alice, yes, we can hear you. I just want us to wait for just a few minutes
All right.
for Dr. Kim
Mm.
Doreen to connect. Start right
Okay.
away.
All right. I'll be waiting. Let me just leave this so that individuals can know which room they are in.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for connecting. I just want to mention that we'll be starting soon, very, very soon. And so kindly try to remind your colleagues who may
Here's a quick tip.
to connect because we are going to start very soon. Yeah. So please share the news. I know some of us still have our local athlete week groups still active. Let's remind them we can start. Thank you. All right. Okay. Yeah. I think we can start right away. Quite a number of things to touch on before the end of today's session. I'd like to welcome everybody once again. Thank you. Alice, I think you were sharing your screen and it's off. Thank you, everyone. I know people are connecting from all across Africa, and as you are aware, this is the first virtual training session, first in a series. This is the first for the English participants. The African Librarians Week last year was wonderful. This year, so soon, the time is up again for us as librarians within the African Librarian Information field to make waves. And so we're glad that once we made the announcement, all of you were able to register and to join and to connect and to see what is in stock for us this year and the new changes and how we move on from here. So I'd like to welcome everybody once again from all across Africa. This is just by way of introduction. My name is Stanley, and then we'll be managing this session with Doreen from Aflia, Alice, WR from Uganda, and then Dr. Nkem, also from Nigeria. So I'll leave Dr. Nkem to give us a quick welcome address, and then we'll zoom in straight away into the session for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Stanley. I'm so glad to be here. I don't know, I'm almost excited. I told Stanley, I love this idea of African Librarians Week 2.0 because we've moved from the first and we're now into the second one. We are starting the training for the second one. So I welcome everyone here. These are really exciting times for us because we've gone from one stage to the other and we are going higher. Like for this African Librarians Week, there are so many prizes to be won. We have power banks, we have gift packs, and we hope to get t-shirts too. And all these are for librarians. But beyond that, that idea of gaining skills to work in a digital space that's helping us to create information, that is really wonderful. Like I wrote on Facebook, I think it was 2 days ago or so. See, librarians cannot just be gatekeepers of information, now, because the gatekeeper is outside the building, the main building, manning the gate. But we want to be inside, creating and evaluating information as real stakeholders in the information sector. And that is what we want to do with this Athlete Week 2.0. So we are all welcome. Thank you for coming in even at such a short notice. I'll hand you over to Alice, but I just remembered also in the gift pack, I think that we have flasks that are branded. We have diaries that are branded and stuff like that. So we are really glad that we are going to do this again. Also, Wikimedia Foundation has promised to give certificates. We gave from Aflia, but they have promised to give certificates to people that participated. I think it was the first 50 in the first Athlete Week. So for this second one, it's going to be really, really super, more than the first one. So thank you for being here. Alice will talk about the theme and other things, but I want to assure you that this is the place to be. This is what to do now, especially in this month of Africa, because May is also the African month. So I'm glad that I am an African, and I'm happy that all African librarians, that we are really hitting to this goal to do great things, not just for us as professionals, but for our motherland, for our countries. Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Nkem. Thank you, everybody. Before Alice comes in, I'll just like to mention that today's training session is in two parts. The first part is going to focus, as we always do, on how to participate. And then the second part is going to focus on how to make contributions on Wikipedia, which is the crust of the matter. Um, I mean, before you get into the competition, you need to be shown exactly how to participate, what things you need to do, what steps you have to follow, and then once you are done with all of that, you can start with your contributions, and you are sure that everything you're doing is being tracked, and as long as you end up being part of those that needs to be recognized and awarded, definitely you're going to do so. So yeah, just a quick dash through the processes, and then we'll see how Alice will take on the second session, which is to focus on contributing on Wikipedia more specifically. I mean, I know quite a number of us are not new to the arrangement in these training sessions, but I believe that there is another part that we need to take care of, because you never know how many of us are new, and so we need to take our time to go through the process. So please bear with me for the next probably less than 30 minutes. I should be able to put us through the process of how to participate, and then I'll quickly hand over to Alice to train us on exactly the processes on how to contribute. Yeah, so quickly, I'll just like to mention again, I think you saw from the screen that Alice shared. I'm going to try to share that again this time around here, that the campaign is starting from the 17th to the 24th. I'm sure many of us who were part of last year would remember that there's a slight change in the week, and that's because there's going to be an AFLIA conference right after this campaign. And so it's been shifted slightly to an earlier period, which is the 17th to the 24th. Now, what you need to also take notice of, I think Dr. Nkem had mentioned that at this time around, last year we focused on a lot about scholars and scholarly information that is available on the continent. But of course, it extended beyond that. So this year's theme, we are focusing on learning in Africa. We'll talk more about that. Alice will also make mention of that. But then all of the contributions we are going to be doing within the period is not only restricted to learning in Africa, just for us to know that we're going to be focused on learning in Africa as a theme for this particular campaign. And we are talking about formal learning institutions at different levels of education, then the African libraries as a learning space, informal learning through apprenticeship schemes, and all of those other information. I'm going to share this link. This gives an overview of the information that overview of the African Librarians Week information for this year. Okay. I'm sure many of us who are connected via the WhatsApp group are aware of the training schedule. This is the English, the first part, starting today. On Wednesday, we continue with the English virtual training. Tomorrow, we are starting for the French, and then on Thursday, we continue for French. And then on Friday, we will do the office hour. I'm sure Alice will talk more about it, but I want to touch a bit about the competition, because African Librarians Week also has a competition in there, and I think that adds up to the excitement and the fun. I would like to touch more on that. And then we'll take notice of these things because they are important. Remember that last year, we identified the top 50 contributors, and those top 50 contributors were given certificates of participation. 5 were given special gifts, like, those were those that were eligible to receive additional, besides the certificates, they got additional gift packages. This time around, there's a change, there's an upgrade, And so you would see, I'm going to show quickly very soon samples of the executive gift packages that relate with this particular campaign. This time around, we are going to be awarding the top 20 instead of the top 5. I'm referring to the special gifts. So we're going to be given, the top 20 would be getting t-shirts, branded executive gift packages, and then unlike last year where the top 50 were given certificates of participation, this year all the active participants will be getting certificates of participation from us and also from the Wikimedia Foundation. Let me quickly share a sample of the, I'm sure, yes, you can see that. So Dr. Nkem hinted on that. This is going to be like that typical gift package that, and this would be going to the top what do you call it, 20, no, the top 10, sorry, the top 10 will be getting this gift packages. You have branded power banks,
10 or 20.
Sorry,
Stanley, 10 or 20.
Yes, so the top 20 will be getting the t-shirts. Then the 10 would be getting these special gift packages, which is your personalized diary, and it comes branded with AFLIA logos and Wikimedia Foundation logos. Your name also branded in there. Your flask. It's a. I mean, you would love it. It's a complete package. It has everything in there, and it comes in different colors. You have red, you have gold, you have all of the others, and then this is an example of the T-shirt, which is branded in Wikimedia. Let me just run away from there, but just to give you a sense of what is in stock. So let's try our best to be part of the top 20 because you are going to be receiving one gift or the other, and would like for everybody to yearn to be part of that. Yeah, so this is just a glimpse of what is to come, and I'm glad that I'm seeing the feedback there. I'm happy, and I'm wishing that many others will be benefiting from this. All right. So yes, that said, with regards to participation, I think this time around the changes we are seeing, there's also some slight changes in there. We've simplified the participation to focus on the more serious aspects. The participation is actually now in 3 phases, unlike last year. This time around, to participate, one needs to just create a Wikipedia account. And once you have created a Wikipedia account, you log on or sign up or relate the Wikipedia account to the dashboard, which is the events dashboard. And then once you're done, you start your editing on Wikipedia. So those 2 phases, I need to touch on that quickly. And then when I'm done, I'll share the link, or probably let me do that right now. The 2 important links that everybody needs to make sure that they have. If you are here and you do not have a Wikipedia account yet, please, to participate in this campaign, you have to create a Wikipedia account, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I have just put the link to creating the Wikipedia account in the chat, so please take note. And then after that, the next thing we are going to be doing quickly is to link your Wikipedia account to the event dashboard, the AFLI Week dashboard. I'm going to paste that link also right here. At the moment, we have just about 20 people who have done so, but it's critical for us all by the end of this session to do that, because we need to track your contributions in order to be able to award accordingly. Okay, all right. So these are the 2 links. Let me just quickly share my screen again, and then let's do the accounts creation now. As I go on, please, if you have any question, you can put it in the chat, or you can use a Q&A, and then we can attend to that. So I shared the link to creating your Wikipedia account, which is a simple process. It's a very simple process. When you click on that link, it will bring you to this page, right? And right here, you're going to see they're going to tell you that your username will be public. Now, this page, you need to tell us your username. Username is just that name that you want to be identified by on Wikipedia. Remember, if you want to be a contributor or you want to be an editor on Wikipedia, you need to be identified. And so that is what the username stands for. You can call it your guy name, you can call it your nickname, but just make sure that whatever username you are putting in there, you do not forget, because you are required to put in your username and password anytime you want to log in into Wikipedia to make any contributions whatsoever. All right. And so because I already have an account, this is my username. Okay. So you try as much as possible to have a username that you can remember. And as you can see here, it says it's already in use. And this is good because if you are now creating your Wikipedia account and you are putting in a username, if it already exists, the system is going to tell you that it's already existing or it's in use. I'm just going to give it another variant, and then it gives, it gives it a new thing. Once you put in your username, you just type in also your password, any password you wish to be known by. Okay. Okay. And then you repeat that same password if you like, right? And then you put in your email address. And this is important because Wikipedia needs to keep track of your email such that if there is any need for communication, and then once you create your account also, information will be sent to that email address that you input here. So for instance, I put my email address, and then when my account is successfully created, I'll be notified through this email address I have provided. And so I'm trying to mention that please, when you do so, try to make sure that the email address you are providing is correct. I sometimes wonder why people would type their own email addresses wrongly. You don't have to do that this time. Let's be cautious of that, because there will be communication that will be sent back to you to confirm that your account has been created, and you need to do that. All right. And then once you put in your email address, then this captcha comes in. This is a security feature to let us know, or to let the system know, that you are not a robot. And please, usually it comes in that way where you type exactly what you will see. So as it is appearing here in different characters, I will type the same thing. All right. And then when I type the same thing, I can go ahead and click create account, and then my account will be created. If the captcha image that you are seeing is not something that is very clear for you, and you want them to give you another one where you can easily see and then retype, please, you have this feature here. You can refresh it. It will come up with something else, and probably the next thing that it comes up with will be something you can see and then type in as your security check. And then once you do that, you can click on create account, and your account is created. Okay. So when you create your account, I would always like to advise that please, when you create your account, learn to tell your browser to save your password, because we've had so many instances where the person just creates the account and completely forgot the password they used, or even their username. But the browser has features to keep your login credentials for many of your platforms that you access. Use that feature. Ask your system to save your login credentials so that anytime you come to Wikipedia, so I just clicked on login now, and then the system produces my username and my password. All I have to do is to say login, and once I log in, that's it. I'm done. It brings me to the Wikipedia homepage, and I see my name here. So this is the evidence that you have successfully created your Wikipedia account, right? Okay. So I think I'm just going to end this demonstration here. I don't know if there are any questions. I think when you open the dashboard, if you sign into the dashboard using your link automatically. Okay, so I'm not seeing any other questions. I'm sure I'll just have to jump to the dashboard, and this is where I believe even if you were part of last year, or even if you have an account on Wikipedia, you need to take notice of, because we are talking about a different dashboard. Last year's dashboard is no longer in use. It's not that same dashboard for this year. And before you become part of the contributors within the campaign, you must link your account, your Wikipedia account, to this new dashboard. All right. So the link that I shared in there that I mentioned, that I said that it is the AfriWik dashboard. When you click on that link, it's going to bring you to this page. When you click on that link, it will bring you to this page. Now, because you have already created a Wikipedia account, all that is required of you is to click on login with Wikipedia. You can see that currently, as at the time we started the session, we had 19 editors who had logged in and signed up on the dashboard. We now have 10 additional persons joining, which is good. And I'm expecting that we have about 90 participants so far in today's session. It's my hope that by the time we are done with this session, we would have more than this number that I'm seeing here. So what do you do? Now that you've created your Wikipedia account, you go ahead and then you click on login with Wikipedia. And this is supposed to connect the dashboard to Wikipedia, right? And because I already have my account on Wikipedia, it's going to say, hi, Stanley, in order to do this and that, we want to link your accounts. You simply allow, right? You click, this is going to show when you click on login with Wikipedia. And when you click on allow, it's now going to integrate your Wikipedia account with the events dashboard or the campaign dashboard. Yeah, I'm seeing 32, 34 now, which is good. So once you do that, it's now going to say, welcome, you have successfully joined the AFLIA One Live One Rev African Libraries Week campaign for 2021. All right. And let me repeat this. Once you do that, you are now going to see also on the top right corner of your screen that username that you have on Wikipedia appears here as well. Okay, appears here as well. And that is the evidence that you have joined the program. Besides seeing this, this also gives an evidence that you have joined the program. When you go to the bottom of the page, under actions, you are going to see leave program. When you see leave program, it means you have successfully joined. If you go to the bottom of the page and you are not seeing leave program, but rather join program, then it means that you have to click on that join program to be able to connect. And on that home page, the dashboard homepage, you have the editor section, and this lists all the people who have connected their Wikipedia accounts to the events dashboard presently, right? So all of them, their names will be here. If you want to see your name, if you are part of the 30 39, when you click on editors, you would scroll through, you would see your name. And at the moment, because the dashboard has not started tracking contributions, you are seeing that all of the other indicators and statistics are zero. The only thing that is being managed or live at the moment is the number of editors. Okay, all right. So I think I would just stop sharing, and then if there is any other information or if there's any question by anyone, you can put up your hand, you can put it in the chat box, you can use the Q&A feature. I quickly respond to that, and then I'll hand over to Alice to continue with the next part of today's training, which is focusing on contributing on Wikipedia, right? So please, the links are there. We shared the links. Kindly take note of that and then work on that, and then we would see. Please, with regards to the competition, I'm sure people will be asking, if you are a new participant or even if you are an old participant, the competition and the manner with which we track the contributions have on the number of citations or references that are added. Okay, that still remains the same. The number of edits in terms of words that are made, that still remains there as an indicator that we use to assess the level of contributions. The articles, they are also there. So please take note that these are some of the things that we look at. And that is why the statistics are important for us, because we use that. And by the way, once you are logged in there, all the contributions that you make are tracked. And so for each and every one of you, we are going to see, for instance, Vibes 92, whoever that person is. Once the dashboard or once the time for tracking begins, the number of edits you make will be tracked. Words added will be tracked in the article or at the draft or at the user area. All of the references you would make will be tracked, and then your uploads as well. Okay, so every one of you, as long as your names are featured on the dashboard, your contributions within the period is tracked. And if you are not part of those that are being tracked on the dashboard, it means you are not yet entered into the competition. So please, this is why we are taking time to put you through this first phase of the participation training, because it's important. We don't want people sending us emails and saying, we did this and we were not recognized. Meanwhile, we go to the dashboard and you were not part of those who had entered the competition. All right. And let me just mention that the campaign starts from the 17th to the 24th. However, this time around, we are giving the contributors an extended period for them to make enough contributions. And so the assessment will be based on that. The contributions and the dashboard will still be open up until, so you can see right from here that the contributions will be open up until June. Sorry, I'm getting confused with the dates, but I mean, that's okay.
June 5th.
Yeah. Yes, to June 5th, right? So please, let's also take notice of that. I think we have that information in here. I just want to highlight that so that everybody is clear on that. So we are trying to say that, okay, so here you would see that the peak of the year's competition will be from the 17th to the 24th. But the Affiliate Week dashboard will remain open to track contributions till June 5th, 2021. So effectively, we are saying that the contributions and the competition extends to June 5th. even though the peak of the campaign is between 17th and the 24th. Let's take note of that. So we have a lot more time to prepare ourselves, a lot more time to contribute on Wikipedia, a lot more time to make more impact within this campaign of 2021, One Lab, One Ref, and a lot more time to do many other things within the campaign. I would like to end here by saying that all of the things that we're doing is in relation or is in partnership with the Wikimedia Foundation. And we are glad that they provided the funds for, as it were, the Wiki Flips project. And this activity is considered as one of the activities under the mother project, the Wiki Flips project. So I'm glad that we're all here. If there are any questions, please feel free to put them up. We'll respond to that. And then we would continue. There's a question that says, okay. Yeah, all right. So any other questions, please, before I hand over? So please, is the completion, is the completion May 17th to 24th or May 17th? Yes. So the campaign, the African Librarians Week, all right, the African Librarians Week is from the 17th to the 24th. But the competition is from the 17th to June 5th, right? We are extending and giving enough room for anybody who can and will to be able to have a lot of contributions within the period, all right? So it's from May 17th to June 5th. That is for the competition. We are synchronizing it with the Global One Lab, One Ref campaign, which also ends at that time, right? And so I think that answers that question, and thank you for that. Please, the English sessions will be handled, sorry, the French and other language sessions will come tomorrow, as you can see from the timetable that was shared. Still have a difficulty in logging in with Wikipedia account. Hello, there's one other thing that I think I would have to mention. Please, if you are here and you are not part of any of the local groups, this is a good opportunity for you to share your WhatsApp number, because within the local groups, it's very easy to get somebody to assist you to do something and to get quick responses to questions you may have, right? So if you are not part of any of the local groups, please put your name and your WhatsApp number in the chat box. After today's session, we'll just glean all of those details and then distribute them accordingly with our champions. All right, so please do that. And if you are still having problems with, someone says, I still have a problem with my Wikipedia account, it's a good opportunity to contact or have that discussion within the local group and you get the assistance. But then I would be glad to know exactly where the problem is. Have you created the account already and that you are having problems with logging in? If that is so, then the chances are you have either forgotten your username or you've forgotten your password, in which case you just have to reset your password and then you get the chance to put in a new one, right? So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm seeing any other questions from here. So I would like to quickly hand over to Alice. Yeah, please keep your numbers coming. Whether you're in Ghana or you're in South Africa or wherever, Kenya, there are local groups that help with these. So please create your Wikipedia account and then connect to the dashboard. And then we would add you to the groups and then you get all the assistance that you need from there, because we have champions helping us to do this work. All right, Alice, I'll quickly hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stanley. This is seemingly seamless transition. But good afternoon, everybody. I'm very glad to see you. Thank you for attending this session at a very, very short notice. And you are welcome to this session. My name is Alice Chibombo. I am the Wikipedian in residence with AFLIA, and I will be facilitating some training for this session in preparation for our contribution as a collective, as the collective that is AFLIA, to the global One Lib, One Ref campaign. And we will be doing it as the collective that is AFLIA through the African Librarians Week. That is our premier event. I am very glad that this is the second time that it is running. So the team at AFLIA have been very consistent with this. For those that participated with us last year, thank you for considering doing this again. For those who are new to this event, thank you still for having considered this as a worthwhile venture for yourselves. Stanley has mentioned a number of things. Perhaps I'll just go through some of them very briefly to clarify some things, and then I will move on to the other things. There was a person who said they still have difficulty in logging with the existing Wikipedia account. It would be helpful if you perhaps described the difficulty. One thing I know with Wikipedia accounts is they are case sensitive. So please try. It could be that perhaps instead of a capital L, you're typing I, or instead of capital A, you're typing a small a, but please check. We will be on standby to help you on that. There are other questions that are going to be addressed in the course of the session. We see them and we acknowledge them in the chat section. In case you have some questions, please drop them in the Q&A section, put them in the chat area too. So, so far, let me just put my screen up so we have an idea of what it is that we are doing today. Okay. There was also another question about the languages, but let me share that with you, especially with the dashboard. Okay. Somebody asked if they can participate in Arabic. I need to make it very clear that for purposes of this competition, we have considered the working languages of AFLIA, which you'll be able to see here: English Wikipedia, Portuguese Wikipedia, and French Wikipedia. So in case you're conversant with this language, you can edit these language Wikipedias, but the advantage is your sources, the sources that you give as your citations and your reference, they don't necessarily have to be in these languages. So I might be editing something on the English Wikipedia, but the source that I have for it is in Yoruba, or it is in Twi, or it is in Luganda, or it is in Arabic. You can put in a source that is from another language. Who knows? Perhaps as a reader or a speaker of that language, I can always go back and fact check that. So I'd just like to share the agenda for today, and we see what we have done so far. So there have been the various introductions, and then there's the One Lib, One Ref that Stanley has mentioned. It is a global campaign. It is run in 2 cycles, in January and also in May. And the basic premise is every librarian in the world who is active on Wikipedia adding just one reference. Because remember, Wikipedia is only as strong as its sources. And I think that will disabuse the notion of it being discouraged in very many settings. So Wikipedia is only as strong as its sources, and as librarians, we are custodians and we are gatekeepers to this information. If we can bring out these sources, we strengthen the quality of the content that is put out there. So basically, that is what One Lib, One Ref is all about. Stanley has addressed creating an account and a user page on Wikipedia. So I will proceed to the anatomy of a Wikipedia article. I will also briefly talk about reliable sources for Wikipedia, showcase a little bit of basic editing for One Lib, One Ref, and how we can manually enter citations in the event that we don't have electronic citations. So you ask, why do we need to know the anatomy of a Wikipedia article? Because there's a section for references that is very, very crucial to us. And I'm going to share something that the Wikimedia Foundation developed to show the anatomy of a Wikipedia article. Okay. Just give me a minute to be able to get it for you.
Okay, Alex, just a quick one.
Yes.
Please, the 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 Wikipedia account demonstration I just did was meant for the newbies who did not
Yes.
or who may not have Wikipedia accounts.
All right.
If you already have an account, please, you are not required to go through that process again. You just have to do the next thing, which is connecting, signing on to the dashboard, which essentially connects the dashboard to your Wikipedia account. So please, if you already have an account, no need to create a new one. It's the old one, it's still valid, it's still essential. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that clarification, Stanley. You do not have to create a new account. And I keep encouraging you, if you are a new user, when you're creating this account, have a book and a pen somewhere near you. Yes, you can bookmark. Electronic bookmarking is a very good way of asking the computer to remember your password. But what happens the day you're away from this computer or from this device? Yes. So please have a book that is dedicated to Wikipedia. Keep it somewhere in your desk and write these details down, because a time will come when you need them and you will not have them, and nothing can replace the written word. Okay. So let me briefly take you through the anatomy of a Wikipedia article, and then we can know what it looks like. I'm using an illustration from the Wikimedia Foundation. I hope you're able to see it. Okay, if you're able to see my screen, I don't know how big or how small my screen is appearing to you. I'll do a lot of scrolling through this. Perhaps I should use a live example for this. I will use a very basic example, but basically this is how a Wikipedia article looks. Allow me to get a live example because the words might not be very visible to you. Okay. Okay, let me use this example of a former past leader in Africa. We aim to use examples that we can relate to and that are locally relevant to us. So this is the article concerning, or the article for Ibrahim Babangida. I believe, not even I believe, it is a fact that he is a former president of Nigeria, of the country called Nigeria. So as you can see, his name is written there, and there are many things that you will see here, talking about his early life, his career, some things that he has been active in, things that are associated with him, the person who he is, what makes him notable, his participation in that office. I'm going to scroll through and then we are going to go through it little by little. But when you're looking at a Wikipedia article, it depending on what it is that you are addressing, there are three things that are mandatory. There's always the introduction, then there's the body or the content, and then there's the references section. Now, when you're dealing with individuals, depending on what makes them notable, there's always the introduction, and that you can see. It's quite a long introduction, but it basically tells you everything about them, so that even if I do not go to the bottom of the article to know everything about perhaps their human rights record or their early life or where they were educated, the introduction sums it up for me. So you always have the introduction. For living people, you can tell us their names, their alternative names. You can also tell us their dates of birth. You can tell us things that are relevant, especially when we come to the concept of notability, what makes them notable, yeah? So you have the introduction. It is very important because normally the intro is a summary of the rest of the article. And then after that, you can begin focusing on other things that are relevant to this person or the thing that they represent. So the body is here. You see the contents where they talk about his early life, his early career, I think his participation in the Civil War, military service, and so many other things before you get to the references. It does not have to be this extensive. The body does not have to be this extensive, especially when you're talking about an individual. At times, there's no information that is known about them, or the information is very little and you cannot begin manufacturing it. But that is an idea of what goes on in the body. If you're talking about an individual, you could talk about perhaps their early life, their background, their education, where were they born, what did they do in school, what school did they attend, who are their parents, what did they do. And then if you're talking, for example, about an information institution, you could tell us its background. Perhaps it was the inception was in this year and the need and the location. But the most important part for us then as librarians is so many assumptions have been made about this individual in the body of the article. Yeah. And it's all good to read about them, but where was this information gotten from? Yeah. How do we know that this information is true? There is this section. It is extremely important. It is the references section. This is the section that I, as a reader or a person who is doing personal or scholastic research, goes to find out that the things that you're actually saying are true because you have put them out for public consumption. Possibly they have the potential to create debate or the potential to be challenged. So if you say that he was born on this date, where did you get it? If you say he has a record of human rights abuses, where did you get it? And this section is extremely important to us. You can see that for this article, there are around 43 references. I'm sure there could be more. Some have been reused, some have been manually entered, I'm sure there could be more, but it is also possible that the person or the people writing this article got some information or some facts from somewhere, but unfortunately, the resource that they used is not, how can I say, the resource that they actually used is not considered a reliable source for Wikipedia, and we will be going into that shortly. So these are the resources, these are the references, and you can see them in the article. They are numbered numerically. They can start from the introduction. Normally, some people say, oh, we don't put references in the introduction because all this that we are talking about is going to be mirrored in the bottom sections. That's fine by us. But if you're going to make some some assertions about the person, things that could be potentially challenged, we need a citation. For example, here they say he's popularly known as IBB, nickname Maradona or the evil genius. We do not live in Nigeria. We do not know that this is a fact. So we come here. It takes us to the first reference. This is where they got it from. For purposes of this demonstration, I will ask you to go and read about it yourself, but that is how you begin introducing, or that is how you begin interpreting these sources. Is there any question about this, about the anatomy of a Wikipedia article before I proceed? Okay. Is there any question about this before I proceed to the next section? All right, in case there are no questions on this for now, please just, they might occur later, just put them in the chat area, or please just put them in the Q&A session, and then we will be able to attend to them when they actually come up. Okay, so the next thing we are meant to be talking about is reliable sources on Wikipedia. I need to mention at this point that last year, as the collective that is librarians under AFLIA, we broke a record. Congratulations to us all. And we are aiming to break another record, obviously. We broke a record in terms of the number of participants signed on to the dashboard and also the number of contributions. But much as we did that, we contributed this, you find that some of the sources that we used were not quality, were not reliable, or they were basically not up to par, and perhaps there wasn't that much, how can I say, much thought put into it. No fault. At times it happens. At times it happens when people do not know better. But I'm going to share my screen on how we can assess these resources. It is an essay you can also read. First, allow me to paste the source so that you can also follow with me, and then we can go through it very, very briefly. Okay, so people ask, what are reliable sources for Wikipedia? Again, we must say, I must state this, that Wikipedia is only as reliable as its sources. Not everything that we see out there is reliable or is factually accurate or correct. Some sources are self-published, that is why they are discouraged. Some are not some are not basically reliable, and as information professionals, we need to use our discretion and apply the CRAP test, that is the currency and, well, you know, but you need to apply the crop test to the information that we see. So reliable sources could, like I said, as information professionals, we can use our discretion, but then there are some that even in our work, even if they are acceptable, they might not be acceptable for Wikipedia. I will briefly talk about what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. For starters, let me start with what is not acceptable on Wikipedia. For there's a prevalence of social media. A number of us disseminate information via social media. It could be Twitter, it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, or another form of social media that I might not be aware of. And Wikipedia discourages the information from these sources, not because it is not correct, but because this content that is there is self-published. So it is highly likely that it will not be objective. For example, let me give the name of an artist, like for our colleagues from Tanzania, we all know the musician that is Diamond Platinumz. I'm sure if you went to his Facebook page, his legion of fans will be talking and giving a lot of adoration, ascribing all manner of titles to him, which is okay because that is them and that is who they love. But the information that they are putting is influenced by how they feel about him at that point in time. They will tell you things that, oh, he's Tanzania's greatest artist since not even there's even no comparison, or he is deserving of a Grammy Award, which we are not disputing, but this is information that is felt. It is not factual, yeah? It is opinionated. So these are self-published sources. Likewise, if you went to his YouTube channel, it is there for promotional purposes. If you went to his LinkedIn account, he's probably going to describe himself as groundbreaking, iconic, creative, the terms that they use to describe themselves. So we discourage all manner of forms of references that you have taken from social media. Having a cursory look through that information on on social media might give you some ideas. For example, if they say that he hails from Tanzania, that is on his social media page. Obviously, we know that to be a fact, but if he has had significant coverage in other sources, then it is likely that this fact is going to be covered in other sources that are neutral. For example, if a newspaper in Uganda wrote that he was born in Tanzania, this newspaper has no vested interest in the outcome of his being born in Tanzania or not, yeah? And also as African Wikimedians, a number of African Wikimedians have taken the time to curate reliable sources from their countries, and I'm also going to share that list. So if you have sources that are coming from social media, LinkedIn account, Twitter, Instagram, unfortunately, these are not accepted on Wikipedia. Then when we come to academia, a number of us might be researchers, and we have done this great research with groundbreaking discoveries and what, but those are your primary sources, yeah? And if you're going to be publishing or referring to your primary work, this is considered promotional. You have journals in which to publish this work, and then we can refer to your work from a secondary source. But if you're going to use your primary research work as the source of your references, it is not corroborated anywhere else apart from your work. So unfortunately, that might not be, actually might not be, it is not admissible. So please, as academia, if you are looking for an outlet for your work, I encourage you to use the journals that are at your disposal, but not Wikipedia as a form of promoting your theories or your work. Yeah. So here we have some types of sources. We look at scholarly resources. I shared the link so that you might be able to do this on your to read this a little bit more on your own. We looked at news organizations, you know, vendor and e-commerce sources. Then you have some biased or opinionated sources. Those ones also exist. Common sources of bias include political, financial, religious, philosophical, or other beliefs. Yeah. Then you also have questionable and published sources. I think I have addressed this. These are your self-published articles. We also have user-generated content, things that come from magazine, blogs, internet forums, social media sites, video and image hosting services. This is where things like YouTube fall. Yeah. So please avail yourself of that resource so you can know what is admissible and what is not admissible. I also see it at times when some people are writing about an individual. For example, especially in academia, when somebody is writing about somebody that they work with, never mind that this person may or may not meet Wikipedia notability guidelines, and then the biography they cite is the biography that the things the person wrote about themselves in their work. My friend, if the individual you're talking about is notable enough and they meet notability standards, I encourage you to source other things or source this information from other places that have been published, or this information has been contributed by people other than this person. Yes. Are there any questions on this at the moment?
Yeah. Okay. So I was in the process of answering, but let me just quickly read it out and you can answer for everyone's benefit. So he says, I can't write about someone who is still alive,
Mm.
not very important, like a politician, a musician, or someone in academic, but someone who has an impact to society or community. Can't I write about that person? I think it borders on notability again. So
Yeah. I'm going to share the link on what notability is. Um, um, First of all, to clarify on that, because it's a bit besides the point, but it can help. Notability is not a feeling, it is not a sentiment, it is not an emotion. So when somebody says, oh, I feel they've had an impact, no doubt these individuals in our communities have had an impact. We do not doubt that. But remember that Wikipedia has a test for notability. Yeah. So have they had an impact to you in your community? Yes. Have they engaged in things that have probably turned your life around for the better? Yes. Are they widely known in your community? Yes. Please subject them to the standards for notability of Wikipedia, and you will find that they do not meet that they fail that test. For example, one of the standards for notability on Wikipedia is do they have significant coverage? And that is where as many people in Africa, that is where we stumble at. That the things about these people are not documented if they are documented on sources which are not admissible. Yeah. So that might fail the person. So there are general notability guidelines. There is significant coverage, so that if this person is being talked about, whatever is talked about deals with the topic directly and in detail, and it means that they have been covered in reliable sources, that the sources need editorial integrity, and that the sources should be secondary sources. They should be independent of the subject. So you're not going to tell us that they are notable basing on they said so in a certain work. It excludes works that are produced by the subject, yeah, or somebody affiliated with it, and that this notability is not presumed, yeah, just because a person, at times some people presume that, oh, because they have been covered somewhere in a reliable source, then they must be notable. And yet the coverage is, for example, another famous person who went to school with them saying, oh, I went to school with Stanley. The article isn't even directly about them. So notability is a test. Unfortunately, because we do not document our individuals in Africa, they fail at the point of significant coverage. So this is a call for us as Africans to begin documenting our stories in reliable sources so that they are admissible. One way of going around it, that is for English Wikimedia. What very many African Wikimedians have resorted to is writing about these individuals in their local languages, because the notability guidelines for English Wikipedia might not be the same as the notability guidelines for, let's say, Yoruba Wikipedia. That doesn't mean that the sources shouldn't be reliable, and that also doesn't mean that you should still go by feeling. Please stop feeling notability. It is not a sentiment. Notability are facts gathered through significant coverage from reliable resources, and it can be proven. Yeah. So I hope that answers the question. Are there any questions before I go ahead to basic editing for one lib, one ref?
Yeah, Alice, I think you can continue. No questions since then.
Okay. All right. Allow me to share my screen here, and we can do some basic editing for one lib, one ref. Okay. Okay, so on my screen, I have an article that I had chosen. I need to make it very clear at this point in time that this is purely for demonstration purposes, but it also reflects scenarios that is about adding sources that how can I say, that back up the claims that we are making on Wikipedia, the claims about individuals, about institutions, or whatever it is that we are writing about. So there are many ways of identifying such articles, but I think we'll be covering that in the next section in Wednesday's training. But when it comes to basic editing for one lib, one ref, first and foremost, consider adding a reference. And on top of adding a reference, at times as an information professional, you need to pay attention to the quality of the article, meaning that you can fix typing errors, you can fix grammatical and spelling mistakes, You can add a citation where it should be. You can put it where it is. You can input some more information to give us more context. And you can also, but above all, you can also begin putting in references to the facts or the assertions that are made here that could potentially be challenged. So I chose the article for Justin Juko. He is a boxer from Uganda, and well, a number of things have been said. You can see that there's even a tag at the beginning of the article that says this article needs additional citations for verification. That while we are not doubting that this information is true, we would need to have more sources more sources so that we can know that these things that are being said here are factually correct. The article is short in nature, but we are not going to be looking at how short or how long it is. We are simply going to be looking at how we can improve it. For references, there is only one reference. Remember that when you're doing an article, it is recommended that you have at least 3 to 4 sources. That is minimum significant coverage, but significant coverage, yeah. But we see that for everything that has been mentioned about Justin Juko, a Ugandan amateur light flyweight, but I think he went professional. Everything that has been mentioned, the person relied on one single source, which is, I think, BoxRec, and these are the statistics. Yeah. It was last edited on 5th March 2021. We don't know what they put, but we see that everything that has been said here is only coming from one source. If Justin Juko has significant coverage, the things that are being said here are likely to be corroborated or repeated somewhere, maybe not verbatim, but they all point to the same thing. It could be a Luganda newspaper, it could be a boxing website, it could be a sports enthusiast channel or something, but these things are likely to be some of the facts here are likely to be disputed. And to avoid all that and increase on the quality of this, we then need to point individuals to where some of this information was gotten. So I'll concentrate here, for example, in the introduction. Okay, in 1990, he won a gold medal at the Commonwealth Games in Auckland, New Zealand. Yes, I was alive by then. I did not watch the boxing matches, but I was old enough to understand what was going on. So this is a claim that is likely to be disputed. Yeah. So what you could do is Google is our friend, and I'm going to demonstrate how we can then cite this using an online source from a reliable source. So first and foremost, if you are going to be participating or you're going to be editing, you need to be logged in. Let me see if I can reduce so that you can see that I'm logged in. Okay. You need to be logged in. You will know that you are logged in when your username appears on the upper hand of the article. It could be in blue, it could be in red. It doesn't matter at this point, but you need to be logged in. Otherwise, your edits or the contributions that you make will not be tracked, neither will they be attributed to you. It is also very important that you have logged on to the dashboard, because you'll come and do all these citations that you have done here, but they will not be credited to you because you're not part of a campaign. You have not signed up for that. So I am assuming that you have logged in here. And we say that in 1990, he won a gold medal at the Commonwealth Games in Auckland, New Zealand. This is a claim, my friend, that can be challenged, yeah? Because there were many other people who won we don't know the category, but there are many other people. I had done some search previously on him, and this is from the Observer. It's a daily here in Uganda, and they were talking about his boxing highlight. Here they say, okay, perhaps there is no specific mention, but there was another source that I looked at. This was about boxers in Uganda. So it talked about generally, and now why I'm bringing this up is it can give us some context, but it might not be addressing him directly. Then I also looked at this. It's an article about boxers from Uganda Commonwealth Games, and they feature them. And I looked specifically for him, and they say Justin Juko, light flyweight, and they say he won gold as a light flyweight in in the Commonwealth Games of 1990. Yeah. So at times the fact might not be stated directly in your face. As an information professional, please look through the article, evaluate it, put the facts together so that we know that this is really it. So I'm going to come here, highlight the URL. I encourage you at this point to copy it, because at times when you manually transfer the URL, some important things could be missed. You might put an uppercase letter, you might miss the title. So copy and paste, just simply highlight the URL, copy it, and then come back to his article, edit. So the claim that we now want to put a fact on is that he won a gold medal at the Commonwealth Games in Auckland, New Zealand. You come to where you want to put the cursor where you want to put this citation. Come to this ribbon and you say cite. There are 3 tabs here. There's automatic, there's manual, there's reuse, but we will get to that. But this is automatic. And in automatic, you can source the URL, digital object identifiers, ISBNs for those of you who are getting the information from books. And then come back here and you paste it and generate. And the system should be doing it manually. It will tell you the name of the article, that this source is from our website for Daily Monitor, and it was retrieved on this date. You say insert. You say insert, okay? And it is going to appear after I have published the changes. There's some space here. For us in Wikipedia, published changes is the equivalent of saving. When you make a change and you don't want it lost, I encourage you to get into the habit of published changes, because at times the internet connectivity could go slow, or at times you might accidentally press the delete button, or even the electricity will go and you have invested so much time and effort in research and this has gone. So you come to publish changes. For purposes of this competition, we have assigned 2 hashtags so that everybody who knows will know our contribution. The first hashtag is AFLIB week, and the next is hashtag #OneLib1Ref. So this is in the edit summary. You tell us. Let me, my keyboard is wonky, so I say AFLIB week, that is the abbreviation, and then the next is 1Lib1Ref, And then in the edit summary, tell us what you told us, sorry, what you have done, so that the people coming in after you can know from the summary what it is that you did. And you say, added citation for Commonwealth Games gold medal. Well, it might not have to be detailed, but make it as comprehensive as possible. Then you publish changes. And just like that, we have a second reference. Now, if I'm signed on to the dashboard, this as one citation is credited to me. Yeah, so that is how you add a citation from an electronic resource. It could be that you got multiple pieces of information from one source, or at times the source is online, but you're not able to get the URL and have the algorithm generate it automatically. So I'm also going to show you, it could also be that you got it from a book. So how do we go about that? Some of us might not have the sources online, but we have the sources of books in our collection here. So they say as a professional, he won all these things. Again, we cite them, we give a reference for them because they are likely to be challenged. Yeah. So again, we come to edit. And then perhaps the information about his professional, whatever, his professional fighting career is contained from a source that I have previously used. So I'm going to show you how we use the tabs. So again, I come to, again, this is for illustrative purposes. I come to where I want to put the citation. I come to cite. It could be that I got this information from that article in the Daily Monitor that we have used. So I come to reuse. Yeah. And under reuse, there are two things here, but I got it from the second source here. I say reuse. And then I say publish changes. Again, I have to put in the hashtags that are specific to this, campaign, which is hashtag AFLIB week. And then again, hashtag OneLib, OneRef. I say added further citation. It doesn't have to be that detailed, but it should be comprehensive. And how you will know that it has been reused is if you go to the source itself, you'll see 2A and B. So if it extends up till Z, then you will know it was reused up to 6 times, rather 26 times. So you can reuse a source very many times, especially if it talks about different things that are talked about in different sections of the article. But at times, it could be that this source was online, but you're not able to cite it well from the source. So how do we go about that? I'm going to look at another place where I would like to cite. Let's say, again, I come to edit. And then I say, let's say I want to put the citation here. Like I said, this is purely for demonstration purposes. I come there. Cite is our friend here. Automatic, remember, is when we are using URLs online, digital object identifiers, especially for those who are published researchers. Yeah, but then there's manual, and these are the kind of information sources that we have. We may have websites, We may have books, we may have newspapers, we may have journals. Yeah. I had looked at a book. I'm hoping that this illustration would work. And I had looked at a book and I'm hoping that we can use it. Stanley, before I proceed, are there some questions that concern the last session that I have addressed before I proceed?
No questions currently. There was a question about accessing the recorded version, and then I just responded to that. We are recording, as you all can see, and as long as you are in this session, it means you registered for the training session. And once you registered, we have it. We have your database, you have your email addresses, and so all communications will be sent through your email, right? So don't worry about the recordings. We will share that through your emails. Thank you. Alice.
Okay. All right, Stanley, thank you very much. Let me go back to a book source. Stanley, also, perhaps we could share the link for the meta page because a number of these resources are there. Let me just share it before I go ahead. If you read through it as a participant, it will have all the shortcuts that are going to take you to where you need. So I've shared it before I proceed to how we can cite things manually. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Okay, so if it's manual and I do not have the URL, like I said, you can cite all these. Let's say it is a book. Yeah. But I have the book physically, or I've read it and I have the details, and I'm just going to use a demonstration. I looked at a book on boxing here. Yes,
Hello. Yeah. Alice, just a quick one. Sorry to cut in. I think I want to just respond to this one, maybe for the benefit of others. Please, the session, we have set it up in such a way that once you are satisfied with, let's say, a specific issue that you needed attention on, you can log off and then continue with what you need to do, at your workplace or wherever you are. You do not need to stay on till the very last end of the session unless you have to. If you think that maybe for you only wanted to know how to log on to the dashboard because you have all the information about contributing, you are free to end the session and then continue. If you have a meeting that probably the meeting time is up and you still wish you had access to everything that continues whilst you're away, like we said, we are going to share the recordings. And so nobody is going to be left out. If you end now, you will still have access to the recordings, which will be sent by email so that you continue from wherever you left off. Right. So, yes, thank you. Alice, please continue.
all right. Okay, so Stanley, just to give some context, some of us have books in our libraries and they don't exist online, so we can do them manually. I'm sure as information professionals, perhaps you're working in a library or not, but at some point you have come across the practice of cataloging, and this is basically what it is. So I'd searched online for a book on boxing, and I came across this. Boxing is no cakewalk. I think our colleagues in Ghana might know this person. And there are some basic details here that we could get. I'm assuming that I have the book with me in my library and I want to write something to say something about Justin Juko. So it will ask you for the last name and the first name, the title of the book and the publisher, the year of publication. Some of these details, if you do not have them, it is not a must, but obviously they would make the source more comprehensive. So let me just base on this that we have a book called Boxing is No Cakewalk, and it is by Di Valera, NYM Bochwe. I do not know if that is a collective, but I'm going to get these details here and then we can do that. So I will take Bochwe and then NYM, and then we'll get the title. I'm assuming you have the book with you, which is Boxing is No Cakewalk. Boxing is no, obviously it has some things. Azuma Ring, Professor Nelson in the Social History of Ghana. You could add these for more context and to make this reference more solid, yeah? So you add the details to the greatest degree possible. Oh, my quotation marks fail me. Ring, Professor. It might look like a lot of work, but it gets easier eventually. That even if you came in the social history of Ghanaian boxing, that even if you came later, you're confident about the source in the social history of Ghanaian boxing. And then we'll look for the details. I'm getting them from online, but I'm assuming you have the book. The publisher is here. At times it might do you well to copy and paste if you have it online and you're manually referencing it. Okay, let us be neat about it. Year of publication, is it there? Yes, it is here, 2019. The ISBN, again, I'm just going to copy and paste it just so that my things are accurate, and I'm hoping it will work out. Then location of publication. I would assume South Africa, but I do not know that. But they say that the publisher is in South Africa. So I may go with that or I may not go with that. But for now, let me go with that. South Africa. If you quoted it from a particular page, kindly put it there. But if it was something in general, don't put it there. Do not manufacture information. And then after this, you say insert. We let the algorithms do their work. And after that, it is there. And we say publish changes. Again, we go back and I stress the hashtags. Otherwise, you might not be counted. One lib, one ref, and I say added further citation, maybe for boxing career, yeah. So please be as descriptive as you can so that the people who come after you know what you did. Even you will know what you did in your edit summaries. And that is how you quote a book. So we can see that from one source, now we have three. From one source previously, we have three sources, though one has been used twice. And that is where the manual way of entering a citation comes in. Stanley, do we have any question so far?
No, not
Okay, none
yet.
so far, yeah.
So yeah,
Mm.
we can continue.
So,
Yeah, so I'll just like to say that those who are not part of the local groups here, please keep your numbers and your email addresses or your names coming. We are tracking it. We would include you in the local groups, connect you with a champion to assist you. So please keep them coming. Yeah, thank you.
all right then. We've looked at books, we've looked at websites. Some of us have access to this information in our libraries, in journals. And these journals are behind paywalls, but as librarians, we have access to this kind of information. So in the event that you have access to a journal or to some research, I would like to show you how you can use a digital object identifier or a journal here. Again, it's purely demonstrative. Let me go back to our boxer, Justin Juko. And then, so maybe for the third thing we said, we assumed, okay, we said that we got the information from Mr. Valera's book, yeah. And now we are looking at something else that might also be in contention, that his professional fighting weight varied from this, though I doubt. But again, place the cursor where you want the citation to be. Sorry, come to edit, always log in, place the cursor where you want it to be. Yeah, and then we are citing this. Manual, we've looked at automatic and reuse, but let's say we are looking at, okay, I think this one has a digital object identifier, but let me look at it using a journal. Yeah, I hope this works. I hope, okay. So we looked at the the Cambridge Companion of Boxing, and I looked specifically at the Africans, boxing and Africa. Again, it's going to ask you for some parameters. For example, the last name and the first name. Here we are. Makinde is the last name. Adeyinka, maybe our colleagues in Nigeria have a different way of stating their name. Makinde, Adeyinka. In the source date, some people put that some people put the day they retrieve that information, but we generally encourage you to get the date or the time that the source was published. And we see that it was in January 2029, that's when it went online, but it went in print in 2019. We don't know when. So let us just try the print publication here, which is 2019 here. Source date 2019. The title, again, we ask you to be very specific. The Africans, Boxing and Africa. This is from an online journal, if you have it, but you could also get the same details from something that you have physically. Then was, oh dear, where's the journal? We don't have the journal name here. That is an oversight on my part. And yet it is something. Okay, let me just put
I
some
see
reference.
the publisher's name. The
The
publisher's name.
publisher's name is Cambridge
University.
University Press. So we'll use that as the journal name. Volume. So this calls for you as an information professional to be able to interpret the information materials that you have. Obviously, they give us a getaway here of export citation, but perhaps that of will not be there. So the volume, do we have it? No, unfortunately, but it would this. The pages, I think here it tells us from pages 99 to 117. Content deliverer, you mention the paywall from behind which you got it, so we'll call it Cambridge University Press at this point. It could be behind Elsevier or something. So this will call for your ability to interpret your information resources. Remember, we are also looking for quality citations, yeah? And then we say insert, and then it is there. Again, we said we publish changes. This is our version. I cannot stress this enough. Make sure you are logged on to the dashboard. You have signed up for the campaign. This is how we'll be able to track, because it is possible to work for 3 weeks. And then after you begin telling us that, I did work, but my work is nowhere to be seen. We are not going to be able to see it because it was not, you were not registered on the dashboard for this particular campaign, yeah? So you say from a journal. So these are the varied sources that are at hand or available to you as an information professional. And that is how you go about adding citations, not only for one lib, one ref, but even when you are doing editing on Wikipedia. Okay, anything so far?
Yeah, there's a question from Jonathan. He wants to know if they are to assign articles to themselves before editing. Just about this one.
Yes, Jonathan, that would be advisable. Let me show you how to do so. It would be advisable and recommended so that others have an idea of what you're working on, and it's possible. And at times, very many times actually, Wikipedia is a collaborative effort. But at times you just want to be the one to work on it for a particular campaign. You cannot stop others, but it would be a good idea for us to know the article or that you are working on, so for your own purposes. So I'm going to show you how you can do that. Okay. Okay, hold on. My screen is a bit cluttered. Yeah, share. So as an editor, you come in here and this is the dashboard. First and foremost, thank you to everybody. By the time we started, today we were 20 editors, but now I see it is 29 editors. Sorry, 59 editors. So when you log on to the dashboard, this is what you're going to see. So to assign yourself an article, simply come to assign myself an article and the article title. Again, I encourage you to come and copy and paste, because there could be a variation in spelling. You could make a mistake, put something that is lowercase as uppercase, put capital I instead of L. I encourage you to copy and paste the names of the articles. For example, Justin Juko, there are so many variations of his name here locally. Some people spell his name with an E at the end of Justine. Then JUCO at times is spelled with double J, single U. Yeah. So to know that you are working on the Justin JUCO that is on Wikipedia, I encourage you to copy and paste and then go to the dashboard, come there, assign. Are you sure you want to assign this article to yourself? Yes, I do. So it will show that I am updating him here. And you can access your work from the dashboard using this. Anything on that so far? Anything on that so far?
No, that was the only question for now. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. There are some people who have raised their hands.
Yeah, I've responded to their issues that have to do with the dashboard links. So,
Yeah, they have to do with the dashboard links. Yeah. Annette and Alabi. Okay, participants, allow me to show you something else that could also be helpful to you. Let me share my screen. Very many times, as we are in this session, we ask for, please send me the URL. Please, I forgot the link. I joined late. That kind of thing, yeah? We have a page on the AFLIA website here, yeah, that documents our activities for the week, yeah? We have that, but we also have a page on Wikipedia on what we call Meta. It says Wikipedia in African Libraries, African Librarians Week 2021. This is who we are, AFLIB Week 2.0. I'm hoping we'll get to 10.0. Yeah, giving you a summary, giving you events. Obviously, some things need to be corrected. You can familiarize yourself with this page, bookmark it. But at the bottom, this is where things begin getting interesting. Instead of constantly asking, send me the link to the dashboard, I came late and all that kind of thing, we have created a centralized repository. For the newbies, you want to create a Wikipedia account? Come here, click on it. It will take you to the place you desire. I already have an existing account. Log into Wikipedia. It will take me to where I desire. Oh, I think this needs to be corrected. I think that link needs to be corrected. I want to join the outreach dashboard. Please come in here. It will tell you if you have already registered that you're already a part of this week, and you can check out the statistics. And then assign yourself an article on the dashboard. It will take me to here. I think that answers the question. So everything that you need in terms of the initial participation is here. There are different ways to engage in OneLib, OneRef. You can improve and expand an article. And there are some suggestions here for you to do. Assign yourself. They tell you what to do. I think Doreen will be addressing these things on Wednesday. Then in case you want to improve with a reference, it will tell you, you could use the citation hunt tool, citation needed tag, further reading or whatever. That is something that we are going to address. Or you can also create a new Wikipedia article for those who have been here before, because remember, with your article, you will be adding references to the articles that you have created, and it will count. Always sign on to the dashboard before you begin this thing. And then don't just stop at that, yeah? Share your contribution on social media. Tag us. I think I didn't put our name on Twitter. We are at AfliaCon, yeah? Use these hashtags. Make noise. The other time we made noise. This time we are coming with vuvuzelas, yeah? And if you have some pictures, maybe you have attended an event and you want to showcase your contribution. Maybe you want to give us a picture of your information institution, preferably. Upload it, yeah? So all these are ways you can participate. We have looked at how to go about it. We have looked at the sources. Make noise on Wikipedia. We are not a sitting duck. We are not a sitting duck, but neither are we annoyingly noisy, but we make people aware of the things that we do, and also upload your pictures where you can. Okay, so Stanley. Okay, let me see. Pearl has asked, do we assign ourselves every article that we work on? Is there a limited number to how many articles one may assign themselves? Pearl, it would be advisable to assign yourself that article so that you also keep track of the number of articles that you are doing. If you don't do it, no big deal, but it is recommended so that you keep track. Yeah. So when you're out there bragging and saying, I worked on 50 articles, the record is actually there. As librarians, we deal with the written word, we deal with records. Is there a limited number to how many articles one may assign themselves? No, there is no limit to the number of articles, but you also need to be reasonable. Do not assign yourself 1,000 articles when in reality you can only work on 10. So I hope that answers your question. Inonge is asking, the best practice is to work from the sandbox. If you're not sure of your capability in the main space, I advise you to use your sandbox. We also use and recommend the sandbox for different things, especially if somebody is new. If your account is less than 4 days old and you have not done more than 10 edits, you cannot publish to the main space. Yeah, it will quickly be returned to the sender, especially if you're a new editor. Then also in the sandbox is where you can test all these techniques. It's where you can afford to make your mistakes. It's where you can afford to refine your craft. So if you feel that you still have a little bit more research to do, some information to do, this thing has failed, yet people are going to see it, I advise you to stick to your sandbox. Nobody is going to come to your sandbox and delete things from there. But you can only have these things in your sandbox for a maximum of 6 months, because other people want to write about them. Why are you holding it in your sandbox after 6 months when you haven't done anything about it? So yes, the sandbox is advised and it is also recommended. Is it after editing the article you go to assign an article to myself on the dashboard? Please assign the article to yourself before you begin editing it, so that the changes to it are ascribed to you. Okay. Anything so far? Any questions? Okay.
Yeah, I think there's another.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Tasneem, yeah. Tasneem, there are many ways of contributing to one lib, one ref. You can improve on an article, like you can fix some factual errors. If they say somebody was born in 1952, but indeed he was born in 1942, you can fix that and give a citation for the corrected information. Let me just share my screen so that we are clear about it. This page will help. You can improve and expand an article. Perhaps there are facts, maybe there have been recent developments about the subject of the article that have not been included. You can, for example, say that maybe recently, maybe as of 2020, they received an award. You put that fact there and you put a reference, a citation for it, so that you have given a citation, but also given us some more information about the subject. And then you could also improve with a reference. I think we have addressed how to add the references to an article, where you can use the kind of sources that we have at our disposal. You can use digital object identifiers, you can use ISBNs, you can use the URL of the source, you can use books, you can use journals, but you could also create a new Wikipedia article. When you're creating an article, obviously there are sources that have to back up the claims that you're making in this article. And just like that, you have contributed to one lib, one ref.
So there's a question from here. I don't know if you've seen that one yet. Can you upload new books or titles before editing?
I do not understand. Are the books published? Are they in circulation? Hello?
Yeah, so yeah, that's just so Grace, I think you may have to give us a better description of what your question is. What you mean? Yes, if the books are in circulation, I mean, yes, definitely. I think that's what Alice just showed about how to cite a book manually if the auto generator is not able to pick the link. Yeah, so
Yeah. Okay, so I think that answers the question, Grace. Then there's somebody, Annette is asking how to match the new one lib, one ref with my old dashboard. If I understand you well, you cannot merge dashboards, but as a participant, you can participate in different programs and campaigns over the year or over a period of time, and each one has its own dashboard, because, for example, for the students who are in the pilot cohort or in main cohort 1, those are different dashboards for a different purpose. They were to track your performance in class, but this one is to track your performance and your contribution to African Librarians Week 2.0 as a collective to one lib, one ref. So you need to sign up to the dashboard for this. Okay. Annette, I hope that answers the question. Then Ngozi says, I think she's suggesting that it is better for one to assign an article that they're already working on and pick another when they finish, other than assigning many articles and not doing justice. Yes, it is recommended. Bite off what you can chew. All right. Stanley, are there any other questions or observations that I may have missed?
okay. No, none yet. I think well, we've done justice to the areas to cover for today. Unless there are any questions from colleagues, I think we may have to end it, and then just a few announcements. It says, how do we upload photographs of our information institutions to the articles on Wikipedia. So this
Okay.
relates with commons uploads. I think the next session on Wednesday touches that, right? Hello, Alice. Hello, Alice. All right. Yes. So
I had lost you at some point, but I think as you had mentioned before, as you had mentioned before, this is something that we are going to touch on on Wednesday. We do not want to get overwhelmed with information because the world of Wikipedia can really not be exhausted. We take it in bite pieces.
yeah, yeah. Hello, Mulenga. I think your question is not very clear, and I think over the period, a couple of people may be confusing the dashboard with the with Wikipedia, and so they do not know exactly what to call which one when they are requesting for assistance, and it becomes a bit confusing. So you just logged in and it is showing my current class as AFLIA 2021. I have no idea what that means. And my old class is indicating as 2020. I don't also understand that. If you can come again and then see how we can help you quickly before we wrap up for today, because we need to be wrapping up soon. Hello, Mulanga, Luansa. If you can help us understand what your question is about or what, so I am logged on, but I can't hear. This is Maureen. Maureen, please, this is a webinar. As long as you log on, you're supposed to hear. So please check your audio. Well, it might be funny that I'm responding by audio when
Can't hear.
so I'm going to type a response. But hello, Mulenga, I think you may have to give some better description of your question to get the assistance that you need. All right, thank you.
Okay. So Stanley, I've pasted the link to the meta page on Wikipedia. If as a participant you're not able to get the information from the AFLIA website, I've also posted that information, then please go to the meta page. I have posted those links in the chat area. They are a one-stop center for the links that you will need. You want to create an account, it is there. You want to create a new article, it is there. You want to sign up to the dashboard, it is there. Always know that with Wikipedia, that you need to be logged in. Do not edit behind your IP address or behind a VPN, because you may be blocked or your account may be blocked. Yeah. Also, if you have any challenges with your user account, if you're in touch with us via WhatsApp, let us know. Be as descriptive as possible. Don't just put it out there and say, I can't log in. Okay, you can't log in, then what? We do not know what to do. Perhaps an error message or a screenshot will do. If you're not able to reach us, contact your country champions. They have sufficient knowledge, and failing which, they can always refer you to us, or they can refer you to somebody else who will be able to competently handle. Martha, the recorded session will be distributed by email to the individuals that have attended this session.
Okay. Yes. So thank you everyone. I think we may have to just wrap up. The rest of the conversation can continue in the chat. We're always available as always, we'll be able to guide you in the chats. For those who have sent your information, WhatsApp and everything, we would include you. Doreen will just add you to the local groups or point you to your various champions, and then every assistance that you need, I'm sure you'll be able to get it from there. Thank you very much. There's an amount of time from here till the 17th, but encourage that all the things that we've seen and heard, we were able to prepare ourselves for the campaign beginning the 17th. I always advise that let's try now to start looking for the articles that we wish to work on, and then also try to start piling up the resources we'll be using so that when the campaign begins, we can kickstart it right away. I'm sure on Wednesday we'll be touching more on using some of the tools like the citation hunt and all. But thank you very much. I would hand over to Dr. Nkem to say the last words. You always know when to reach us and how to reach us. Feel free to do so when the need arises. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stanley. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, everybody here. This is a journey. Sometimes it may appear to be a long way to go, but I can assure you that these skills that you are acquiring, this knowledge is making you a better and a better librarian. We can't continue to rely on the things we learned in school or our ideas of what a librarian should do. You know, librarianship is so elastic, and we have to keep on moving with the times, you know. So thank you for being here. You won't regret it. Then also I want to appeal to all of us, please tell people in your country, librarians in your country, library students in your country, because at the end of this competition, we are going to recognize the library, the country that will have the highest number of editors and the highest number of edits. And the National Library Association of that country will also hear about you. So please don't take this lying low. Make sure that you get in as many people as you can. If along the way you feel that you can't teach them what to do, please let us know. And also we will send you the names of your champions in your different countries so that you have people to consult with, you know, talk with when you have issues, when you have problems, when you bring in new people and you need them to be trained ASAP immediately. These champions will help you. So thank you for being here. We are looking forward to Wednesday when we are going to continue. Like Alice said, you think about pictures. You know, the pictures of libraries are not online, many of our libraries, but we are going to learn how to do it. And then you get enough pictures ready so that once the competition starts, you push all of them in. That will push up your edits. This is a secret that I'm leaking, but well, thank you for being here today. Thank you very much.
And also, please remember the dashboard begins counting on the 15th of this month. All right, goodbye everybody and good luck. See you on Wednesday, God willing.
All right, bye everyone.